going to be a wild one. Woo, boy! What is up, everybody? Welcome into the DNVR Nuggets Trade Deadline Special. Let's go, baby! Let's go! Hey, man, we are just a half hour away before the deadline, and honestly, we're going to be live for the next hour, maybe longer if something happens, and obviously it runs late. We'll be covering everything.
Or shorter if
we're not feeling it.
Just not into it.
Yeah, it's kind of not that fun. So I expect more trades will be coming down, and possibly even a Denver Nuggets one. And I got the squad here. I got Brendan Vogt.
Dropped my phone yesterday, shattered it, so I'm setting up a new one now. So if I look really distracted during our big deadline show, that's what that's about.
New phone day is a bummer, like when you get the new phone because you have to do all this stuff. But getting a new phone, top experience. Over here, I got D-Line Co. You guys know him as Eric.
What's up, guys? I missed last show. I had a really great time watching the microphone rise up slowly on Brendan Vogt. I noticed now, after Brendan was inconvenienced, there are two weights on here fixing the arm. I appreciate it. I also am very mad. I'm not going to talk.
That's fine by all of us, including the people watching. Over here, I got the man with the wind in his hair, Harrison Wind.
Sitting over here with a very capable microphone. A very well-working microphone.
You know, there's complainers. You know, and then there's just guys that, you know, they get it. They roll with the punches.
Real professionals just adapt to any situation they're in.
Such a real
roll with the punches.
Such a real professional.
Are we discussing whether or not me or Harrison is a professional?
That is the conversation. You're right. Not a great insult.
Well, it looks like I lost that one.
The answer to that one.
Guys, so like we mentioned, a bunch of trades have already come through, including the giant James Hardin for Ben Simmons deal. We're going to talk about that one later on in the show, as well as all of the deals, just kind of grade them, talk about who won or lost these trades. We also had Denver Nuggets practice today, which is only the third practice that I've at least attended all season long. I think it's only the third one that's happened at Ball Arena. They've practiced on the road or whatever, or they've practiced in silence as well. We know this. Like the team's like, no practice today. Then you see on the Instagram guys at the gym working out.
Yeah, the optional, non-optional shoot-around.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like there's no media because it's optional, even though the entire team's here and it's very structured.
You and your friends are like, yeah, we're not getting together tonight. I have Instagram.
No, the worst. But nonetheless, it was, you know, an opportunity to meet. People don't know this, a little bit maybe too much behind the scenes, but practice is the best way to sort of gauge the team. And so like games, you know, questions are limited to within the game. Like it's weird to ask questions that are too far afield from that. But to get in there today, it was really nice. We talked to Will Barton. We talked to Michael Malone. We saw Michael Porter Jr. We're going to talk about all that. But first, to set the stage, 27 minutes to go before the trade deadline. Harrison, what can you tell us about the Denver Nuggets?
Well, obviously no trades yet. I'm told, I just put this on Twitter, a trade could still be coming. It's a possibility. They've got some things on the stove, but to be determined on, you know, if the Nuggets pull the trigger on any of those trades.
It's a funny metaphor to say you have something on the stove because you never have anything on the stove unless there's a plan for it to be finished.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's a weird way to
explain. You don't cook
explain
something
that.
halfway and then go,
it's like,
nah,
my wife calls like, how's dinner? It's on the stove. We'll see.
She's like, follow-up question. Is the stove on?
Yes. So I guess we're going to see if the stove is on. Is what's going to happen here. We know what the Nuggets are looking for most likely. Defensive presence on the wing or a backup center. And I think we know the Nuggets' two most likely players to be traded. Facu Campazzo is making $3.1 million. He's fallen behind Bones Highland on the point guard depth chart. And JaMychal Green, who's making a little over $8 million, who's fallen behind Zeke Naji in the front court rotation. So that's kind of the Nuggets' starting point. Mike Singer, friend of the show, reported yesterday the Nuggets could throw in a first-round pick. We'll see if that makes any more deals come through, but
it's also
that's where the Nuggets are right now.
A first-round pick, it's interesting because a first-round pick, if you throw into a deal, you better be getting somebody that's one, long-term, and two, like really shores up. It's not like you're not paying a first-round pick to get off of Facu. You just hang out and do it for the rest of the year.
You're not paying a first-round pick to get a Bryn Forbes.
Right. So if you are, when you hear that they are willing to do that, you think, okay, they're probably something a little bit bigger that they are at least entertaining, not necessarily like that's what's on the stove, but that they are willing to do that if it's
or the offers they were getting were just crap.
Right. Maybe.
I know. That's the thing about all this stuff. You wish you knew all of the discussions before you could like really gauge what was happening, you know, like because I mean the discussion on days like this, if you're like are extreme casual and also write for a publication, you're like, why don't the Nuggets make a deal? And you're like, bro, there has to be two sides that agree to do everything.
The funny thing about that, though, is, as Vogt reported when Tyrese Halliburton was traded, that as GMs around the league were shocked to see that he was available.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes I do think you just have to call and shoot your shot.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
And there's a lot of people to call, but I do wonder sometimes if it's like, what do you have? The pickup artist is you ask out 100 women at the bar, and one of them says yes. You're like, perfect, success was great. It's like maybe that's how it is for being a GM. You're supposed to just like call Sacramento, call Orlando, like, hey, are you your best players for our worst? Are you in? And every now and then one of them's like, yeah.
Wait, right now?
Yeah, let's do it. Who knew? All right. We talk about players, though, that Denver might be targeting. Is there any names or a type of player, Vogt? I know we've talked about this a little bit, but is there like a type of player maybe you have your eye on?
Sure. I mean, again, we'll forget fetchable for now. We'll just sort of talk about what I'm interested in. I mean, Kenrich Williams would be a home run. I think we all feel that way. That Josh Hart trade, I don't think is official yet, but I do think he's off the table. Those were the two guys I was looking at. Kenrich, to me, maybe seems like the home run in terms of, I obviously have no idea what his value is around the league.
Very high, but extremely high.
Is he a guy that you could get with a first? I wonder, Otherwise, it's pretty limited. That first-round pick is going to be down the line. I believe they're Stepien locked right now. So, again, it's not like for Denver to bring someone back, they got to send a core piece out. And so I don't know. It's really hard for me to identify guys that are gettable with those middling assets.
When you talk about a Facu trade, do you anticipate it being a deal to get somebody back, or do you feel like it's a do right by Facu if they were to move him? And that's
it could be either.
Yeah.
I could definitely see the Nuggets wanting to just get him somewhere where he can play. Facu took a chance coming over, bringing his whole family over from Europe a couple years ago. I think they'd want to do right by him.
So we interrupt this to announce the Mavericks have traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie. What a wild trade! Now I had heard rumors about this. There have been rumors.
Like an air horn or something.
Yeah, we do need an air horn right there. Hit that air horn.
That's crazy.
Kristaps.
Breaking news!
Breaking news! Dun dun dun! Is that what we got? Oh, wow. There it is. Perfect.
I like that.
Trade alert. So, Dallas, all I see right now from Woj, Kristaps Porzingis to the Washington Wizards, Spencer Dinwiddie to the Mavs. Here's what I'll say about the Mavs. So, they've managed to be very good defensively. Kristaps must be the worst, man. There's so many players around the NBA that are just high maintenance, like annoying, really well-paid players, and Kristaps one of them. He has been impactful for them defensively this season. What I'll say is Spencer Dinwiddie also annoying. Apparently, all of his teammates also hate him.
Apparently.
So,
easy on the former
the
buff.
Bitcoin thing dried up real fast, I think, for him.
Bitcoin thing might have dried up a little bit. But
whoa.
But here's what you have. What?
I just can't get over that. That trade.
That's a massive deal.
That is insane.
For a Mavs team that's playing really, really well.
Clearly not because of Kristaps, apparently.
Arguably did not need to shake things up.
They're all well.
I didn't think they were good enough, but
there's a couple factors in here. One of them was Kristaps was making a lot of money, right? I have to imagine this is a little bit of a haircut for Dallas.
Well, there's going to be more players going back to Dallas from Washington for sure.
Yeah, and man, Dallas, by the way, Washington has some good players.
Yeah.
So I'm almost nervous to see if they get anybody
Kyle
else back.
Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope,
or something like that.
Two guys who I thought the Nuggets could definitely use.
But what Dinwiddie does really well is in a spread offense, he gets into the paint very well. He's just really good at that. Same with Jalen Brunson, same with Luka Doncic. So they are setting themselves up to be a team that is going to score 120 points even in a playoff series because they're going to spread you out and get into the paint so much. So Kristaps, obviously a big name. We know he and Luka not exactly best friends, bunkmates on the road or anything. So I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Man,
that's huge.
Do we know how much Dinwiddie makes approximately? Does anyone want to SPO check that? Because
Yeah.
I'm curious about that financially.
Yeah.
Somebody get a sponge.
I would have thought that. I always thought Dallas was going to need to move off of Porzingis. They're turning into something else to win a title. So, and I didn't think they were good enough. But it is surprising to see, given how well they've played lately, isn't it?
Bertans is involved in that deal too.
Man, so Bertans. So there you go. Davis Bertans, guys. Do you remember? Was it last year that to get Davis Bertans, it was 2 firsts?
Yeah, and then he was the worst he'd ever been, except for when he played us. Knocked out every three he took.
He did have one massive game against the Nuggets.
I think he's averaging like 9 points per game.
He's fallen out of favor.
He's
some
really,
would say.
But are you telling me you don't think that playing alongside Luka Doncic now with floor spacers and all he's going to do now is just like stand in the corner or run off screens? Look, I would predict that Davis Bertans has a resurgence.
Look, the Mavs are definitely getting better with this trade. Yeah. A lot of talk coming out of Dallas really over the last year plus is that the Mavs are always better with KP off the court.
Right.
So the Mavs are getting better here. Dinwiddie's had a really, really bad season. Like, he's been actually pretty awful. But you put him around Luka, you put him in that system, and Bertans and whoever else they get back, I think it's a win for Dallas. Absolutely. And that's concerning if you're Denver because, it could be a potential playoff opponent down the road.
I think it's a win for Dallas as well. And I thought they had to try and get better. Did they get worse defensively, though?
Maybe.
And I just in terms of, like, their long-term playoff prospects, I think are better. But in the meantime, just in terms of picking up games, might this serve to help Denver? I wonder. Because Dallas has picked up a lot of wins through being a stout defensive
They're
group.
great defensively. It's a miracle. And Jason Kidd has been surprisingly good in terms of changing the identity of that team in that regard. Obviously, they're still a Luka team, but they have other ways of beating you now other than Luka going for 40, 10, and 10. Offensively, though, Bertans, Kristaps, kind of a wash. Like, now you have another pick and pop big or floor spacing big. Yeah. Like, they both do the same thing. Like, Kristaps is taller.
They both shoot threes and don't rebound.
Exactly, exactly. So now you have that. And Dinwiddie, look, it's a flyer. He does get into the paint. He has kind of wore out his welcome at a lot of different places. But guess what? You only need to be there for 3 months. Sometimes a guy, it's like, hey.
Oh, dude, we love Boogie.
Yeah, well,
currently,
I'm a little colder than the rest of everybody on this one. But look, I think this is a great move for Dallas. I think it's a
absolutely.
Great move for Dallas.
I'm wondering what Washington's thinking.
Well, you get Kristaps,
dude. Kristaps is a good player.
You did.
I can't get over the blockbuster deal that was getting Kristaps Porzingis to go to Dallas.
Right,
it's like that quickly torn up. I cannot believe that those two can't get along.
That much. An injury too kind of derailed things, but
unreal.
He's been a little bit fragile. Washington, they had that great start. Our friend Wes Unseld, they had that great start and then have kind of tailed off here a little bit.
And now their season's done. I mean, Bradley Beal's probably out for the year with this wrist surgery. Definitely out for the year. I mean, they're done. So I thought Wizards would be selling off everything potentially, but, they're trying to keep Brad Beal happy. I wonder if Porzingis does that.
There's so many little stages you can be in as a team, and I got to think Washington is the worst because they both are kind of feel somewhat hopeless. I mean, you can retool. We've seen teams like Chicago look like they were going nowhere. Now all of a sudden they have a great team. So they could do that, but it's really hard to do. But you also have so you're both not that great now, not that promising, but also have a supermax player coming up in Bradley Beal. And it's like it's one thing when you're rebuilding but have no obligations.
Well, this is just like the classic Wizards. This is the classic Eastern Conference team that they're in the zone that we saw the Pacers in for so many years.
Yeah.
That Philly was in before they started the process. Yeah, they could maybe sneak into the play-in tournament, but that's what they're going for every season.
Yeah. Kristaps does give them a long runway. I mean, the Beal Kristaps duo next year. Maybe there's something to kind of build off of.
Sure.
So to be fair, like. It's not like Bertans and Dinwiddie. They're losing things that they were using, to succeed.
Yeah, to me, it's like I'm having I just need to see it. I guess I need to imagine what it looks like to have Luka and Dinwiddie working together.
Yeah.
Is Dinwiddie backing up Luka? He's a point guard, also, is he not?
Yeah, but I mean, look, in a spread offense like that, this is what's so interesting about Denver is they are built opposite. Some teams have, like the Clippers, nothing but wings. Denver doesn't have any wings.
Right.
Other teams have nothing but shooters out there. Denver, short on shooters. Some teams have nothing but guys that get into the paint and you spread it out. And those are like simple, easy ways to win. And now you have three guys that are very good at that. It might work, man. Like think about Denver's how much they struggle keeping guys out of the paint off the dribble. Mm-hmm. Now Dallas has three of those, and that might be a first round matchup. There's a scenario in which those two teams play. So. I don't know. It makes me slightly more afraid of Dallas. But
me too.
We're 15 minutes away here from the deadline. Let's go to practice now because the Nuggets had a practice that's always interesting. Harrison, want to start us off on some notes from Nuggets practice today?
Well, first of all, holding a practice on the day of the trade deadline, it's got to be super awkward.
Bold.
I mean, Philly was going to hold a practice day, and they just canceled it. They're like, we don't want to deal with the awkwardness, and it turns out that was probably a good idea to cancel it.
Theirs was a little bit more,
Sure.
There was a little bit more there.
Sure. But, I mean, everybody was there at practice. JaMychal Green, we saw him. Facu Campazzo, I didn't see him, but I was told he was there. And Michael Malone addressed everybody at the start of practice, and he said, as of now, we don't have anything cooking. everybody here is here. So let's have a practice. And that's what they did. So I don't think it was too awkward. They got through it. But yeah, everybody was in the building. It just seemed kind of normal, to be honest.
Yeah. I will say there's little things like Facu, we're told was at the practice today, but he was gone before the media was let in, probably by design. I'm sure he just didn't want to like the photos take it or this or that. Like, understandable. Doesn't mean anything's imminent or anything like that. My big note from practice before we get into what was said, and I know it's your big note too. Michael Porter, we watched him today for how long? Maybe 10, 15 minutes shooting threes. He might have missed 2 of them. He might have missed a bit of 15-minute period.
Trade him.
So I just went.
Missed those 2.
We had 3 guys at practice today, so I just went full media mode, taking pictures, videos.
Sure.
I was just watching Porter the whole time. He hit earmuffs, kids. He hit fucking everything. Everything.
The coaches would scream when he missed, and it was like 2 or 3 screams. Like, you're kind of like, what happened?
If you were,
Michael Porter missed a 3.
That was them going, oh, and he goes, one more, drains it. I mean, he was, it's still, they're limited, right? He's not going through contact stuff. Yeah, it's still mostly just getting shots up. Mm-hmm. But Harrison, the shot looks good, man. Michael Porter Jr. looks good.
I mean, this is what I've been watching before games for the last couple weeks.
Yep.
I mean, this is what he's been doing. He's been shooting a lot. He hasn't been missing. And I've said this before to you guys. Like, if I just watch him shoot and I didn't know he had back surgery a couple months ago, I think he's 100% healthy.
This is how he looks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen like the dunk.
Right.
Or
Just
like
from what
just
we
from
see.
catch and shoot
From
shooting.
what we see, just him shooting.
I will, yeah.
He looks at least as athletic as Davis Bertans right now.
I'm also 105% confident that it was the back pain, those struggles to start this season. I mean, we know he's an incomplete player, but the jump shot, I was always pretty sure that doesn't just go away magically. It's back.
You watch him, man, and I just, you can't help but get excited. He's just such an insane talent. And to your point, Harrison, I mean, who knows? There's, we can't judge a person's health by how they move in an empty gym. Like, there's other factors here. But if you were just to watch Murray's workouts and MPJ's workouts, you'd be like, oh yeah, MPJ's almost ready to go.
Yeah.
Murray, you could be like, okay, he's got to shed a little weight here. He's got to start doing contact, this, that. But Michael Porter just runs around the court doing catch and shoot threes or sidestep threes and draining them. Nothing but it's a surprise when he even hits the rim. So,
and Michael Malone today, I asked him, he said it's a possibility he could return this season. And it's the first time anybody's spoken about Michael Porter on record this season and said that it's a possibility. So,
really? That was the first time on record?
Yeah, nobody's said that before. People have said it's possible Jamal Murray comes back.
It's come from
Michael Malone hasn't spoken on it this season, but I asked him, and he said, yes, it's possible. He also said it's possible he doesn't return this season.
Right, but he was coy about it at first. He joked with you, well, all things are possible, Harrison. And then he said, no, but seriously, it is on the table. And I do think you're right that was a takeaway and just confirmation of what we've all hoped. There is still this element of he starts to go through contact stuff. Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable, and they're going to go, hey, we're not rushing you, right? So far from a lock. But does Porter look like a guy that could return this season from a non-doctor's perspective?
Yeah.
Sure does.
This is what I've been saying all along and what I've been writing in wind chimes. When I watch Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. warm up, they look like guys that are warming up to get back this season. If they didn't have it in their mind that they weren't playing this season, they would not be warming up like they are.
Right.
It looks like they're ramping up to come back this year.
10 minutes to go through the trade deadline. We're going to get more notes from practice today because we want to talk about what Barton had to say, what Michael Malone had to say. But let's hit our first break here. It's about that time. On the other side, maybe some deals come home. We'll get to all those on the other side.
Shout out to friend of the show. I don't have his tweet up right now, but one of our DNVR Nuggets listeners actually got a job at Ball. I think because of our read. So it can happen. If you're looking for a job, Ball is hiring. And you can get hired as a production technician at Ball. If you want more info, jobs.ball.com and search for Golden. Or you can text Golden to 77222. The production technician, you get paid $27.39 per hour. Very competitive wage.
I might apply.
With potential for increases at 6, 12, and 18 months on the job. Offers a lot of exposure to other manufacturing opportunities in the plant as well. And the production tech's role touches on the other stages of making aluminum cans and ends. So Ball is a great place to work. Like I said, one of our DNVR Nuggets listeners and watchers just got a job there. If you want more info, go to jobs.ball.com and search for Golden, or you can text Golden to 77222. Also, we just partnered up with these guys, Athletic Greens. Have you been taking your Athletic Greens?
I have.
I've been taking them as well.
Just to be clear, we're not talking about Jamichael and Jeff, right?
No.
The Athletic Greens? Okay.
No.
It's also not a performance-enhancing marijuana strain from AG.
I have been taking my daily Athletic Greens.
Yes.
Realizing that this is a read about health, I'll let you take it over and talk about you taking it so that people can aspire to something.
Yes. But I do use Athletic Greens every day. I started taking Athletic Greens because I wanted better gut health and I wanted more energy. I wanted an optimized immune system. So with Athletic Greens, what it is it's a powder, and you just put 1 scoop into a water bottle each day. Take it before you eat anything in the morning, and it sets you up for a great day. 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. It's just a blend of all those ingredients. It supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It's also lifestyle friendly. You know, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything. So it's really good stuff. Also supports better sleep quality and recovery, supports mental clarity and alertness as well.
What about IBS?
I'm sure
all roads lead to IBS. Every ad. Does Ball have an IBS program?
Costs less than $3 a day. So check it out. Athletic Greens, they're giving you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So all you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/nuggets. athleticgreens.com/nuggets.
It is a nice way to start the day. You do feel like you've accomplished something when you drink your Athletic Greens.
Okay, well, there you go.
Some of us have a higher bar to clear than others, but yeah.
I mean, listen, you guys do stuff. I don't do anything. That's kind of how it works. I drink it.
It's an open secret.
I drink vitamins. Cool. Whatever.
All right, so back here on the trade deadline special, we have probably, I'm sure, maybe some new people checking in or people haven't checked in for a while. This live show that we do we do pregame live shows, that's like our mini podcast. We do postgame shows. We do off-day shows. These also all become a podcast. So if you're unable to watch us for whatever reason during the live show, you can always check us out on your podcast feeds, DNVR Nuggets Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get them. You want to check that out. And if you do enjoy the show, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Always nice.
Okay.
See what the homies have to say.
I was going to say we've got some news, or if you got something.
Let me hear it.
So, friend of the show, Jake Fisher, says the Nuggets are in the mix for Jalen Smith, who earlier today got traded to Indiana.
Wow, interesting. So Torrey Craig, in a roundabout way, could end up helping the Nuggets solidify it'd be one little tip of the hat. Jalen Smith is an interesting one. He's pretty intriguing. You know, very good three-point shooter. His nickname was Sticks early on in college because he was so skinny. He was like Bones in 7-foot form. But he really added the weight. He actually has a pretty nice, he's still a slender build, but he has a nice body to him. Hard worker, plays in goggles, which is always a big boost.
Hell yeah, dude.
But more than anything, like he would be, it's funny, man. Denver gave Malone Isaiah Hartenstein. You could tell he didn't want the young, unproven guy. Jalen Smith is even less proven. He's talented. He's got a lot of upside, but he's very unproven.
So Jalen Smith, he's a 6'10" big man who the Nuggets had a lot of interest in the draft 2 years ago. The draft, they took Zeke Naji and RJ Hampton. Jalen Smith's been in Phoenix these last couple years. Didn't play at all his rookie year. Played a little this year. He's super raw. He's super inexperienced. I don't think he'd play or even really come close to cracking the rotation in Denver. But he's somebody the Nuggets were interested in the draft. So that's why I'm not totally surprised Denver would be interested in him now. He's on his rookie contract. They'd have control over him for a bit, but I don't think he'd be in the rotation.
Dude, he looked really good at Summer League. I remember that. And also...
He and Zeke.
Yeah. Is that right?
I'm just joking about how uninformative we've learned Summer League is.
That's a great point. Well, Zeke was terrible, but he looked good.
Right.
And he'd also played some big games for the Suns. Like they, just casually monitoring that world now. there have been times where they've been all in on sticks, and it's been like a like a people's champ sort of thing. Like they're clamoring for sticks. So
Right.
I don't know.
Well,
like
every fan base just wants their young prospects.
It's
Oh
true.
man, you have a draft pick. Like, of course, you're just like all about. Nobody's more famous than the unproven draft pick. No matter where they are.
The Suns also reached. Didn't they take him 10 or 11?
Yeah,
And
way early.
He was projected like I think another 10, 15 picks down the line. So I would imagine there was some active hope that he works out. This doesn't excite me too much for the reasons Wynn said. We just talked about some of the lessons learned this year, and I like what we've seen from Bones and Zeke, but what about getting playable, ready now vets to help you make a run? Don't know if you need a project. Don't know if Malone wants a project.
He doesn't.
If you want to center, Boogie's right there. And the truth of the matter is the Phoenix Suns know just what they're doing in terms of identifying and keeping talent around, and they're shipping him out already. I'm not excited about it.
Wait, the Phoenix Suns, you're saying they're shipping him out already? I mean, part of this is they have different wants and needs too.
Yeah,
like,
You're right. Of
different.
course. Listen, man, I'm just saying this isn't, to me, this doesn't scream, this outfit would be that much more ready.
Jalen Smith could be a nice developmental piece. But I kind of wonder if the Nuggets have their Jalen Smith already. That's Zeke Nnaji.
Yeah,
They do a lot of the same things well.
He's not big enough to play like guard your Dwight Howard back.
Yeah, those two seem a little redundant to me. But again, it's a nice developmental piece. He's a former high draft pick that you could take a flyer on for relatively little.
If it costs you Facu, though,
absolutely you do
this
it.
is the thing. Like, first of all, Facu and T.J. McConnell on the same team.
Oh,
come on, baby!
The tryest, hardest team ever to rename him the Try Hard.
If you could get him for a JaMychal Green, or I don't know actually, but for Facu, you do that because he's young. You can develop him. You've got him under control. He's an asset.
Disagree because it's the roster spot. It's not Facu. It's the roster spot. Use that roster spot on a player that can help you win games this year.
Yeah, like can I just say?
It's Facu though.
I just want to take a temperature.
No, but I'm not worried about. I mean,
to make this point because I think it's important.
To me, it's less about the Facu for Jalen exchange.
Right.
It's just if you're making deals, if you're filling a roster spot, go get a piece that helps you win now. We've seen this end of the road for the Nuggets, this version of the Nuggets, how they're handling flyers. Like Malone's not about it.
Right.
So
your point, would you feel if the Nuggets did make that deal, let's just say it was Facu or maybe even JaMychal Green for sticks, would that make you feel like the Nuggets are maybe punting on this season? Or that they're like not it's a signal that they're not all in?
Yeah, it's just a sort of indecisive move. I don't think it's a bad move. But again, right now, I'm looking at this deadline like, is there just a marginal piece that makes it that much easier to pick up wins? I'm sort of over the flyer thing.
I don't know if I trade JaMychal Green for him. Is that crazy?
JaMychal Green's reliable.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing about it is like at least you're going to get a guy that knows all the plays and the coverages and what he's supposed to do.
Think about if you're in the playoffs and Zeke just doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Turn to Jalen Smith.
I mean, I guess
they no longer have a veteran. You also have Jeff Green.
They would also still have another roster spot, right? So they make that move and then they sign Boogie or something.
That'd be the funniest thing. Tim Conley's like, one for me, one for you.
Yeah,
Malone's like, perfect. I'll use the one for me.
It's okay, but like, so I don't know where I am with what I want the Nuggets to do exactly. They are in the weirdest of all spots where theoretically they could be making acquisitions of both Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., which would be the biggest moves that they could possibly make all season. If those two players don't come back this year, I don't see any path to them actually winning. And so it's like I don't want them to, like, if they don't in their hearts believe that those two players are coming back, I would like them to pick up a developmental player and like look towards the future. Right. I don't, it's like if win now, what does that mean? Like, okay, we get into the playoffs, we maybe squeak by I think we saw the ceiling of this team last year, as it is currently constructed without those two superpowers alongside Jokic. It's limited. It's like you just have to be realistic with what you have, and it's difficult because sports are just like very very front brain. Like you just want everything to happen right now, and I don't know. I am of two minds on what I'd like them to do for sure.
Well, the clock has struck midnight here. It's actually 1 o'clock, which means the trade deadline is officially over. Now, of course, deals always roll in 10, 15, even 20 minutes.
Hit the board.
Yeah,
Houston is trading Daniel Tice, that's right. To the Celtics.
For Dennis Schroeder.
They love themselves some Daniel Tice.
They can't get away. They can't keep away.
Can't keep him away, man.
Guys, I'm really
Boston's loading up.
Boston got better, and they've been playing better.
But they're not good enough better.
Well, no, I'm not talking about them winning the title. I'm talking about shot and fraud.
You just want them to keep losing so you can have fun on around the association.
That's exactly it.
And it's just gonna be a little less fun.
A little less fun.
Okay. Well, you'll manage. I think you'll deal.
No, I think that's important.
Let's get quick notes here to practice while we wait for these final deals to come in across the wire. Harrison, I'll start actually with what I thought was the most thing I was most interested to learn, so maybe that's why I find it most interesting. But, Bones Hyland had the playbook written on his arm in this last game. We know Popeye Jones has talked about learning the playbook, this or that, and how difficult it can be. Michael Malone, I asked him about that today about, hey, what is the challenge for a young player learning a new playbook at the NBA level, and what does a coaching staff do? And his answer I thought was absolutely fantastic. I mean, Coach rarely gets into this level of detail about these types of things. But what he said was that it's not just about knowing the playbook from two positions, which Bones has to do. He's not just learning the shooting guard, but also point guard. So you're kind of having to learn two playbooks. But the challenge of a point guard he talked about was you have to know situation, like what plays do you run against certain defenses?
Yeah.
What plays do you run in certain circumstances? Oh, they're in the bonus. What play do I run now to take advantage of it? Who hasn't got a shot in a while? What's the play in our playbook that you have to recall off the top of your head that gets so-and-so, Will Barton? We got to get him going. He hasn't had a shot in a while. So that, and like saying that provides a lot of context, because I think a lot of people have ran with the Bones doesn't know the playbook. Is he dumb? Is he this or that? Point guard is similar to quarterback in that you actually have to think on 7 different levels at one time. So it's not just do you know the name of a play, but do you know the situation for which each play is called? And I just thought that was great insight.
Look, point guard's the toughest position in the NBA to learn and to play, and especially for a rookie who didn't play point guard his senior year of college.
Right. Sophomore, but yeah.
Or sophomore year, yeah, his last year. It's tough. It's tough to step into a veteran team with a lot of guys who have been in the league for a while and take command when you're on the court. So I wasn't surprised, when Bones shifted into this role that there were going to be some growing pains. But my biggest takeaway over the last couple of weeks is that it seems like Malone is really doubling down and saying he's willing to live with these highs and lows. And it's a big development at this point in the season, I think.
I would call Michael Malone unequivocally in Bones' corner today at practice. Like, there was no hedges, there was no this or that. All positive things and almost an excitement. Like, it just was very – Malone sometimes says things, you're like, he's pumping up his guys or whatever, this or that. I felt like his answer both to the questions being asked about the playbook and this or that, but also just the way he raved about Bones right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, I really do think in a lot of ways we're over the hump with him, and I'm curious to see his next bad game in a close one if Malone sticks with him through it.
I think that choice is made. I think you see Facu if it's like you're down 25 in the third and no one's playing hard. But as far as the rotation, I think it's solidified. I don't think he's going back.
So I thought that was really great. And then I asked him also about just teams with all the 10 days and two-way guys, if playbooks have gotten reduced a little bit, including defensive schemes. And to my surprise, he actually said yes. That not just with the Nuggets, but league-wide, maybe things have this year been simplified a little bit. This is actually a note we've been talking about on the list, that the Nuggets do kind of have like fewer plays they just keep going to, and it's almost more basic. But it sounds like it's a league-wide trend because this year's just been so weird with so many new guys. I mean, think about Bryn Forbes is new.
Oh, yeah. The less practices, too.
Fewer practices.
Right, yeah. Fewer practices, and Bones as a rookie, and he's sharing the court with guys who weren't around all year in Forbes, and even a guy like Reed, despite the training camp. So not terribly surprising.
Another quick little note here. Jeremy Grant, who is possibly going to bolster a contender or even move out west, it sounds like Shams is reporting that the Pistons and they're going to stay together. So no deal imminent for Jeremy Grant.
He just wanted to go somewhere he could win,
Definitely not that, but he does seem content there, so he'll be there at least until the summer. Is there anything else for Michael Malone, or you want to move to Will Barton?
Yeah, we can move to Will.
What's your big note from Will Barton?
What's my big note from Will Barton? I asked him if the Nuggets need to make any upgrades at the trade deadline. And he said no. We've got everything we need in this locker room.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anything come across.
He actually was asked. It's funny, man, because Barton speaks in code, man. Because he was asked today about, is it difficult to go through a practice with a trade deadline? He said, not for me. And I think everybody initially took that to mean because you're not getting traded. But he later kind of clarified, and he was like, if I get traded or don't, he's like whatever, it is what it is. And it reminded me actually of when he was asked about the competition at small forward, and he was like, "Why would I be nervous about that?" And it reminded me of that. Like he was speaking in almost code about it.
Well, I actually think with that he was blindsided by that. But
no, of course. But I'm saying that. But his response was kind of tongue in cheek to this one too. About like, I'm sure, of course, he's like, people want to trade me. They've wanted to trade me for forever. Or there's like fans or this or that. But what have you?
The reason I laughed, I just saw that included in that Houston deal is Ina's freedom.
Yeah,
no longer Cantor. Ina's freedom is along with Bruno Fernando.
Imagine going that conservative publicly and not taking off in Boston.
Weird.
Just kidding. That's a shitty joke.
Here's a crazy one that just came across from Woj. No deal for the Lakers, sources tell ESPN. They'll focus on the buyout market.
Oh, what a weird move for them to focus on the buyout market. They just have a year.
I mean, yeah. Well, but what I'm saying, but here's the thing. My fear with the Lakers, as like in terms of turning themselves into true contenders, because I think they are so far. LeBron James agrees with me, by the way. He's come out public. Can you imagine if Jokic came out and was like, "Yeah, we can't win. We're not good. We'll never be with this group." I just can't imagine it. It actually like LeBron gets.
I could imagine Jokic saying that. Man, I don't think it would be a dramatic moment at all. I think he would say it like, "We need to get better."
Man, LeBron's comments in that one were not a hedge of like a realistic or a casual.
Sure,
this or that.
I agree.
They were straight up like
they were an older guy that's learned to have a little quit in him.
I could never imagine, for example, like Kobe Bryant saying something like that. I know this is like I'm just trying to talk about different mentalities. It was the weirdest. Like we just lost.
Saying it that directly.
To me, I just like cringed. I like watched it 10 times because I'm just like, this is so crazy.
To me, I thought he was speaking directly to his general manager, who then didn't do anything at the deadline.
Of course. Well, now he's got to go to his team and be like, 2 days ago I said this group
just
can't
kidding,
win
guys.
Hey,
let's
all rally the troops now. The buyout market's going to get us there. Like, to me, I'm sorry, man.
I saw that clip when Russ comes over to say, "I'm sorry, I wish I could help you guys."
Oh, I love it.
Did you guys see LeBron's face?
Yeah,
that is not the "thanks for coming over, man"
of course.
face. That's not.
Anyway, my point is they did not trade. They did not make a trade. I was worried that somehow they were going to pull, something off that was so ridiculous. They did not, and I think I'll bury the Lakers. Can they win a play-in? Like, I'm still scared to get there, whatever. But in terms of like, now they're going to have to not only win the play-in, but then beat Phoenix or Golden State. No, thank you. Best case scenario, they lose the play-in in game 1 to the Pelicans, which would be like the greatest thing ever. Scenario 2, they lose to the Clippers, which would also be great in the play-in. Scenario 3, they get swept by the Warriors or Suns. All the likely scenarios right now.
Maybe
for Lakers,
a better scenario is they lose to the Kings in the play-in, because the Kings are going all in for the play-in right now. They're doubling down. They got a foot slammed down on the gas. They are going hard for the 10 seed.
Would you guys be cool if I just stood up and twirled like Sound of Music?
It's honestly a saving grace of this season. Like, Denver's been in purgatory this whole year, but they're not in hell. No. Like, we're looking down in hell at the Lakers.
You're sorry suckers.
Look at us. We're just like lukewarm temperature over here. Like, you guys.
No, we're like, this is boring.
This is really boring. That's what it is.
Did you guys see that Kings fan on the broadcast with the sign that says "Welcome to Hell"?
Yeah,
dude, I popped on Nuggets Reddit. There are just Kings fans looking to convert to Nuggets fans. Just like, please let me join you guys, because I can't do this anymore.
Hey, Kings fans, we'll take you.
Hey,
we'll take you. Sure.
Also, Kings fans got to give that a little bit of runway, man. Sabonis is good. Sabonis is really good.
I mean, they've been in purgatory for the last 20 years.
If my team got Sabonis, I would be so hyped.
Yeah, he's like Jokic light.
Yeah, but if your team sent Tyrese Halliburton out, you might be conflicted.
I don't know.
Whatever. We've done about the Kings.
Yeah.
My big note for Barton, I asked him because he's going to pass, assuming again he's on the team, it looks like he is, but he's going to become the all-time Nuggets leader in three-point shooting. And I asked him what that meant to him, and he said it actually means a lot. And you could tell actually in his response that this actually is a big thing. And here's why. When he came into the league, he was known as, hey, he can get to the rim, he's a slasher, but he can't shoot. That's his weakness. For a guy to go from, if you read his scouting reports, can't shoot, no three-point shot, to being the leader in a franchise in three-point
that's been around
history,
for 50 years.
That's been around for 55 years. Well, the three-point line has been around that long, but
whatever,
doesn't matter.
Whatever,
bro. Ralph Simpson never shot the three ball like Barton did.
He did underhand, too, the right way.
The right way. But honestly, too, like, Barton's basketball career is weird because he's the longest tenured Nugget. He's one of the longest tenured Denver athletes, yet the city of Denver just hates him for whatever reason. So it's a little weird. So it's a little bit of a bittersweet that he will be like an all-time Denver 3-point shooter.
Man, it's a hell of an accomplishment because Will Barton came into the league as a second-round pick, first of all.
That's a great point.
So he's carved out an incredible career for a second-round pick. He's earned a lot of money for a second-rounder.
Great point.
But he also came into the league with absolutely no jump shot. He was a terrible shooter in college, terrible shooter when he got to the Blazers, and now he's going to be the Nuggets' all-time leader in three-pointers made.
By the way, not like this isn't like a coincidence or something. Like his shot really is good. When he takes an open three, I'm like, that looks.
He's been a very good 3-point shooter for the last 6 years.
Chat points out too, he's about to set a franchise record for a team that didn't draft him, that traded for him. And here's the other thing, I'm going to upset a lot of people. Longest tenured Nugget, OG Yoke player, about to set a record. I mean, a deep playoff run away from. These are low bars. And I'm not talking about the stars, just the way we use this on the internet.
Right.
Nuggets legend Will Barton.
Right.
I mean, that's on the tape. I mean,
it really is.
It really is. So I'm really excited he's still around. I think he can help this team.
It's funny to me that J.R. Smith is a Nugget that we all are like fond of, like love. Like, oh man, J.R. Smith, one of my favorite Nuggets. And then with Barton, you're like, knucklehead. Like, hold on, Barton, J.R. Smith's a knucklehead, guys. Like, like it's a little. It's a little.
If you're upset about the shots Will Barton takes, you didn't watch J.R. Smith.
Yeah, of course. You watch the highlights.
Yeah,
but I wonder maybe this will be like how Barton is remembered, where you're like in the real time you just remember the frustrating parts of him, which we're not denying those are there, but you maybe in hindsight you'll only remember the like cool moments with Barton. I don't know.
One could hope.
One could hope, couldn't they?
Yeah, one could. Why don't we hit our final break? On the other side, I don't know, man. We haven't heard anything about the Nuggets here. It's probably about 5 more minutes-ish. Yeah. We just got a tweet come in. Let's see what it says. Nope, it's just nothing new. All right, so we'll hit our last break, and then on the other side.
A tweet from Walmart. It looks great.
It was Shams, and he said he's hopping on Stadium to talk about something.
I know, dude. Like the alerts now are like, oh, the tweet. It says no deals for the Knicks.
Yeah, I know. Can I tell you? It's funny when I see all of these digital media companies that do their like live shows and they all wear suits behind a desk. It just cracks me up. Like I know maybe some people prefer that, but whenever I see I'm seeing the show right now with 2 dudes in a suit and it says the digital stream.
It's like why can't we just all wear denim? Full body denim. That's what I'm saying, man.
Dude, wouldn't it be awesome if I was behind a desk and I was like, man, Nurkic sucks.
Doing the exact same shit.
Like and now tie and everything.
Judge D-line.
Judge D-line's coming up behind the
desk.
What's
that, Dev? You were in a relationship. Were you wearing this suit during the relationship?
I just also love, I just wonder if people south of 35 enjoy the next up we go to Harrison, who's going to bring us a report tonight from practice. Harrison, just the formality of it all on a freaking Twitter stream.
By the way, Ariana expects all 4 of you in suits for our next.
Ariana, if you're in Denver, we're dressing up.
Yeah, we'll
absolutely, do it. Absolutely. Guys, Ranch Rider Spirits launched in 2019, born from a food truck in Austin, Texas. We just tried these the other week. They're phenomenal. Phenomenal.
They're beyond phenomenal, man. They're beyond phenomenal.
They come in
Friday night. We get a winner's lounge.
Do we have any more yet, Kale?
So we do. Honest to God, true story. We have one package left. And it's reserved for a weekend winner's lounge. So
that works for me.
We might be crushing Ranch Riders on Friday.
Oh,
that'd be great. They've got a bunch of different flavors. They've got a vodka soda. They've got a Paloma. They use premium spirits like Reposado tequila or 6 times distilled vodka.
Honest to God, they're so good. I honestly just I could drink 20 of them. That's
I haven't seen you this fired up about an adult beverage in a while.
I know, dude. And I also have to see you drink 20 of them.
Yeah.
I have to see this.
Well,
check them out. They're called Ranch Rider. They don't use any added sugar, no artificial preservatives.
You can tell too.
Yeah, you
Subtle.
can tell.
It's good taste.
After only 2 years on the market, they've established themselves as one of the top 10 fastest selling alcohol brands in the country. Go to ranchriderspirits.com to find a location near you.
Mike Singer from Denver Post is reporting no deal for Facu. Sources say he'll remain with the Nuggets.
All right.
You're stuck with us, Argentina.
Also, the moment we've been waiting for since September is finally here. In honor of the Big Game, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. Bet $5, get $280 in free bets if your team wins. not a new customer, it's okay. You can still experience Super Bowl 56 with Super Bowl 56 props instead. Tons and tons of props on DraftKings Sportsbook for the big game. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use promo code DNVR. Get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5. Get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Promo code DNVR at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
And if you're looking for a place to watch that big game, why not come down to the DNVR bar? We will have, speaking of DraftKings, we'll have a DraftKings pool going on that day for people that are in the bar. We'll have giveaways, high fives.
Oh, man.
Generally reasonable vibes.
Yeah, very, I think immaculate.
Immaculate.
We'll have immaculate.
Immaculate. Adam will have probably drank 20 Ranch Riders. That'll be fun to watch.
Oh,
Gotta
man.
come through.
Minimum.
I'm telling you, very crushable. Very crushable. Guys, we haven't put out a graphic or anything yet, but you do want to just mark your calendars. We'll probably start promoting this beginning next week, but March 26th, we are doing another party bus, another takeover at Ball Arena for the Denver Nuggets game.
Party
same,
bus?
It's going to be same deal, $100. There it is. Boom. $100. We're all going to be in the same section. It's a lot of fun. If you made it to the last one, you're probably going to make it again. If you didn't, you missed out. It's going to be a fantastic time. We might even have a little surprise or two for you for it. So mark it in your calendars. These tickets will go on sale beginning next week.
Yeah, and when you buy your tickets, you have to either click, yes, I want to be put in an arm lock and be given a noogie, or no, I don't. I need to know first on, because I will put you in but just mark that, yes or no.
I saw somebody gave a review of that event last time and said it was the best Nuggets experience he's ever had.
Yeah.
The Nuggets lost by 20.
I know. And this time around, they're playing the Thunder.
They're playing the Thunder. They should win. And
Well,
no.
Careful.
This is like one of the 10 last games of the season.
Okay, yeah.
Thunder can't win, man. They're gonna
SGA has got an ankle
he's
sprain.
He's out.
Yeah.
Giddy's too much too.
Get it?
They're
Yeah,
like, hey,
we're resting him.
He's
for
personal
Summer League.
reasons. Yeah, come on, man. So we'll have to see
Kenrich
about
Williams,
that.
we don't want to expose him anymore.
Kenrich Williams.
We don't want anybody to know how good this guy is.
All right, so it looks like the Nuggets are not making any trades.
Hey, wait. So did no one get Kenrich?
No, staying put.
No,
He's
Jeremy
actually out of the
Grant,
league.
Jeremy Grant, Kenrich, all these guys that we kept thinking maybe.
That's what it is,
No
man.
one wanted to offer a first for Kenrich, and that wasn't enough for OKC.
Maybe they didn't want to trade him.
You could collect assets.
Well,
Everybody's
I know,
collecting
like
assets.
how many picks do the Thunder need?
That's so true.
It's never enough.
Yeah.
I think it's enough.
It's like the Nuggets collecting point guards that won't
Yeah.
play. You're just like,
We got another one.
One more.
Got another one. All right, Vogt, what's your initial reaction to this? Nuggets staying pat.
Not terribly surprised. Would have obviously loved to have seen them find a way to get a smaller deal done, bring in a defensive wing. You know, Facu's out of the rotation. I don't know how much you could have brought back. I would have liked for him personally to see him get somewhere, because I don't think people realize financially, not that he's struggling in life, but that this move was not like a slam dunk for Facu. Right. So I feel somewhat rough for him personally. Wish they could have got a defensive wing in or a center, but I'm really not surprised. I think Malone and Tim, Malone through the media tried to tell us for months they want to get those five back on the court, and they did not have a lot of assets and to buckled up for a slow deadline.
Eric, what's your reaction?
Same thing. I mean, like I said, I would be very wary of doing any like big structural changes to this lineup, just because we know what we have coming down the pike, and we have to sort of just believe in that original vision that Conley and Co. put together. That's why they added Aaron Gordon last year. We made last year we made a huge splash. It's just we didn't get to fully realize it. We got those
we did.
We got those 8 beautiful games.
Yeah, we did.
It was
Trust
like
me.
Hanukkah of smugdom.
We did realize it. I mean, that's the thing is we did fully get that moment. That's why some people are like, Nuggets never make moves. Literally just made the biggest move.
Yeah, I know.
last
I know.
year. Yeah, they were the star of last year's trade deadline. This year, there's really only
Right. So you just
76ers
like
and
allow
Nets.
that to come back into focus before you're like, okay, we're going to move off of that, because they already went all in on a vision.
Right.
So, we're talking about things that are just like editing around the edges, getting a developmental guy that might play, might not play. It's like, I mean, it would have been cool to get like to get our old friend Torrey back.
Man, him going. We're going to get into this here in a minute, but him going to Phoenix is like,
I know.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen something, but I can only assume that every deal that they had on the table involved them having to erode something that they have long-term plans for.
right.
I think so too.
It's Bobby Marks just tweets out the big winner today. Players in OKC, they're $23 million below the floor. So that means each player is going to get like almost $2 million.
Wow.
Because if you're below the floor, you pay your roster evenly.
Is that prorated or is that like the low end guys at the end of the bench? Do they
No,
also
I think
get the same?
it's even. I think
So
it's like
that's a
everybody.
huge
Yeah, like there's
dub.
guys at the end of the bench that are
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm going to make more on this
Holy.
piss than I will. I mean, there's still time. I guess it doesn't make sense, but yeah. They'll be really well
That's
off.
crazy.
Which, to your point about Kendrick Williams, it is funny. Like they could have easily taken on a giant salary, and to move him, but here we are.
I mean, a little disappointing, I think, especially because Dallas got better.
Yeah.
Phoenix got better.
Yeah.
Other than that, the Clippers got better. Other than that, I don't know if anybody made a momentum swinging move, but it would have been nice for the Nuggets to add a piece. I mean, now you turn your attention to the buyout market. Denver's got an open roster spot. They've
Right.
got Cousins out there
Right.
who Michael Malone yesterday said he expects to be back. Now, we'll see if the front office expects him to be back. Gary Harris could get bought out in Orlando. I think Denver would have interest in him if that happened. So that's kind of where you turn your attention to now.
Yeah. I would say I'm and let us know in the chat, by the way, how you guys kind of feel. I'm curious to take a look at this. You can monitor it for me, but I'm a little disappointed. The roster construction was tough this year because the plan was to have Michael Porter at least for the whole season, and his absence has really thrown a wrench in that second unit.
Yeah.
I think, the fact that you weren't able to find a landing spot for Facu, is one thing. I saw the homie Miroslav, who, by the way, hosts Serbian Corner right here on this very podcast, DNVR on weekends, along with Voya. So you guys want to check that show out. He just put out that Facu is going to win the Nuggets of playoff games. Mark it down. Here's the one thing about that. Not the craziest take. Like, when you talk about playoffs, do I trust Facu in a playoff for 7 games? No, to me, that's not ideal. I know the Nuggets won one last year with him. So
Yeah, you don't
obviously
want to
it's
do it again. If
Obviously
you can.
possible, but
Yeah.
but can I picture him having a PJ Dozier-like effect where there's one game where he checks in out of necessity and
Absolutely.
gets 3 steals and
Sure.
this or that?
We do that
Absolutely.
all the time
So,
for Facu.
but nonetheless, Denver does have a 12-man rotation right now, and to me, they need like a 9 or 10, and that would have been made a lot more clear if you sort of consolidated a little bit there. So
We also don't know, whatever JaMychal Green was involved in, if he was, again, well reported, but a no trade clause there as well. So he would have had to approve.
Right.
And maybe, I think he probably would have in a place where maybe he could have played
He
a lot
would still
more.
be getting paid on the first and the
First
15th.
and
says,
15th.
yeah.
So we'll see. It is definitely disappointing to not clean up on the margins. If they could have, that would have been what you call a win on the day. Not moving Monte or the starters, though, Eric. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, we knew a big move wasn't coming.
Yeah.
I'd heard a rumor that that this should not be a surprise if it were to happen, but obviously that didn't come through.
So just quickly, Mike Singer reporting that we are signing Boogie Cousins to another 10-day.
So there it is.
Okay.
Of course, that's what they were waiting on.
Yeah.
That was very obvious. That was the reason he wasn't there for this last game. Also, it wasn't needed.
Yeah. Or if they got a center today,
That's what I'm saying. That was why they waited till today to sign him
Right,
to
yeah.
see if a deal materialized.
Thank God they didn't get Alex Len.
I'd be surprised if
Thank
Boogie
you,
even
Tim
left
Connolly.
Colorado. Not that I know.
My one trade deadline hope came true.
Alex Len.
So it is
No
sort
Alex
of
Len.
interesting. Now you look at the summer and the flexibility. Does that mean JaMychal Green is back for next year? I don't know.
Let's see what happens.
By the way, Facu making an imprint, JaMychal Green absolutely could also make a huge imprint on a playoff series.
He's trending up.
He's trending up, and he's also a veteran player. He kind of played the worst he possibly could. Now that you have a new look second unit, he's played a little bit better. Maybe it ends up really paying off for you. So there you have it. Nuggets kind of the same team. Let's bounce around the association here real quick. Let's get to the big trade that did happen today, guys. We knew it was going to happen. James Hardin is going to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, 2 firsts. That's quite a haul, and just in terms of Simmons a really good player. I'm so intrigued to this. Curry's obviously a great floor spacer that's going to really help a team that has a bunch of guys that get into the paint.
He's their new Joe Harris.
He's their new Joe Harris. The picks, we'll have to, that's just down the line to the future. Daryl Morey, if this doesn't work out, will be at GMing a different place. This is what he does. He trade away all future assets. If it doesn't work out, Get out of there. Go somewhere new. It's the smartest move you can do as a GM. I'll tell you the part that I don't like about this, guys. Paul Millsap to the 76ers. Paul Millsap to the 76ers. Oh,
that's tough.
That breaks
tough,
my heart.
man. It breaks
It's going to
my
be
heart,
tough
too.
beating him in the finals.
It's going to be really tough.
I know it's going to hurt my heart.
Vogt, I'll let you dish on this trade first. We knew it was going to happen.
If I'm looking for a silver lining, I'm going to look for Paul Millsap evasively answering questions about Joel Embiid as the best big, and him insisting
Every time he doesn't say it, we'll
he's
take it as a
one
dub.
of the best. I'll be like, yep, that's a dub.
Yeah, you better not say it, Paul.
Yeah.
If he
You
says it, oh
better
my God.
Oh,
This will be a real, like, where you have to beat up your dad moment.
delete
You
a
know?
lot of
Dude.
nice tweets, Paul.
I don't want
He
to
says
beat
it
up my
one
dad.
time. He says it one time. We're fist fighting in the alley.
Philly obviously got better. It's a huge win for them. Huge win for Morey. And by the way, hindsight's 2020. I'm not talking like I know anything. Just what a reminder. Patience is a virtue in this league, huh?
Right.
Give it 6 months. Another disgruntled star will come around.
Of course.
And Morey waited, and he got his. I think Philly looks a lot better this year, obviously, in the playoffs. I know Hardin hasn't been good. I would expect suddenly he looks willing to give more effort. I do
The
think
hamstring's better?
Yeah, I bet the
hearing
hamstring just
stuff?
loosened up.
Yeah.
I'm hearing. My
I'm
sources
hearing
are
it's
texting me.
loose again.
That
But
guy's so loathsome.
however, guys, long-term volatility, like there is a delicious potential for this exploding. Philly is one of the least like stable organizations in the league right now, and James Harden is absolutely in that category as far as individuals go. So scary as a Denver fan, but maybe it all ends spectacularly. Who knows?
I feel like the Nuggets are just fighting a different fight than all these teams, man. Like the Nuggets just build this team from the ground up, make all the right moves, don't skip steps, trade for the final piece of the puzzle last season. And
Lose 2 of those pieces.
the rest of the league is just players saying the team they want to go to, demanding a trade, and then just getting traded to that team. I mean, our guy Matt Moore put this on Twitter like last week when this stuff was picking up steam. You know, when a disgruntled star wants out and he has a team he wants to go to, he usually makes his way to that team. And it sucks, man. I hate this league. I hate it.
I really do. This is,
It's bullshit.
This is
Like
the
what
thing,
a,
is
yeah.
that this trade is
with you,
actually
man.
the perfect, like, just most frustrating thing where you're like, you know, like Hardin not showing up for Houston camp and just like phoning it in and then getting traded to the situation he wanted, then not liking that one, then phoning it in and getting traded to this one that's probably like the best of all scenarios now for him, and now being closer to a championship. To me, I know we're being whiny little bitches, guys. Let's not kid
Yeah,
ourselves.
dude.
We're being whiny little bitches.
YLBs.
Hey, we've got a
WLBs.
brand, man.
We do have a brand. We're being whiny little bitches right now. But one thing is that like it does suck that's like if it works out for them, it's like that's how it worked out. This is the lamest thing ever. The NBA, like, there really is no
so lame.
There is no justice.
Can we
There's just-
let's take
No, there's just us,
solace.
bro.
Now they may have just gotten better, so I immediately take this point back. But let's take solace. Maybe hey, the net super team experiment failed pretty spectacularly.
Okay. Here's a couple things. First, I'm going to look long term. So James Harden's an unrestricted free agent this summer. Almost certainly going to sign a long term deal with them. I mean, that's the whole idea. You
Yeah.
trade him and then you get a long term deal. Are we sure James Harden is not going to be the next John Wall, the next Russell Westbrook, who signs a long-term deal, and it's like, man, this guy's not the player he was. He just happened to have an unrestricted free agency at the perfect time to get one more deal because you needed him for one more year, but you actually have to get him for 5, and that actually handicaps them. I think it's actually not just possible, probably likely that the long-term outlook for James Harden, and by extension Philadelphia, is maybe not so great.
I agree, 100%. But the thing is, I think he's going to look okay these next 2
The
years
short-term outlook
to
very good.
potentially win
Very
a
good.
championship.
Right.
Yeah.
And look, 4 or 5 years down the line, who knows how healthy Joel Embiid's going to be.
Right.
But he's healthy this year and is probably going to win MVP because of this trade now
Right.
and can win a championship.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you
sorry.
do that deal 10 times out of 10 if you're Philly.
Are we sure it helps his MVP odds?
I mean, I think it is in that, oftentimes people look to the record as like the thing
Yeah.
that is the make or break.
But this is a whole new chemistry. Like, here's the thing: Daryl Morey comes in. He can. What did he do? Daryl Morey in Houston. He built a roster around the star where it's like, I'm going to make James Harden look as good as he can, because Daryl Morey's theory of basketball is that your best player is the only one that matters, and everybody else just gets in line. You go out here to Philadelphia. What do? Same thing. Embiid's putting up historic numbers. Everybody else is just guys. But now you got 2 guys. It didn't work with Harden and Chris Paul. I know that's different. It didn't work with Harden and Westbrook. are we sure that it's going to be seamless and now they're racing to the top? Or is there a scenario where early on, at least, it's a little ugly and it's enough to cost them to where they're a 5 seed instead of a 1? Which in the East means like 2 more losses.
It's possible. It's totally possible. Like, there's always weird growing pains when these, like, especially like talent of note comes together that has like a specific way that talent has come to be known and plays. And James Harden, especially, like he has played in a bunch of different roles in the NBA. He was the 6th man, unheralded, or was, he was celebrated as 6th man. It wasn't good enough to actually make them get over the hump. Then he was the unquestionable leader, the unquestionable deity of that Houston Rockets team, where the entire like franchise had to just bend to his will. He was shooting every time or passing every time. It was just really the James Harden show. And him going to Brooklyn, I'm not at all surprised that it didn't work out. Like him having to acquiesce to Kevin Durant's world, like that was never going to happen. So we're going to find out like how comfortable Joel Embiid is with sharing this amount of the spotlight with another player. I mean, Ben Simmons didn't want to shoot, so like that was a good. I mean, obviously it worked out. It worked out in the sense that like the spotlight didn't have to be fractured in the way that it's going to have to be now. Like,
man, it's funny. So Joel Embiid has said all the right things. I've actually been very impressed with him this year and how he's handled this. Like he even had some great comments not like 2 or 3 days ago about Ben Simmons and about the situation that was both respectable to Ben Simmons, but also like his perspective, which was a critical one on how he's handling it. And I just thought I was like so impressed with the thoughtfulness of it. Then immediately as the trade goes down, he tweets the meme of the guy that's like, I showed up to the funeral to make sure that dude's dead. My enemy's dead.
Joel Embiid knows how this thing works.
He really does,
He plays the game and the other game perfectly.
It's like you were gracious this whole time, and then the moment the deal's done, you're just like, pour the dirt on him. Yep. This is crazy.
I read that as him saying that to the league. Do you
Could
think
be.
that?
I don't think so. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, he's the pettiest player by
but
choice.
Petty, tongue-in-cheek petty.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like he knows this was the best.
That's what I mean.
He knew that was the best joke. Also, like cruel, and he played it. It's honestly, he kind of played it perfectly. Is there? What 76ers, are they the favorites right now out east?
No, I wouldn't say that necessarily. I mean, we have to see it work first. Like Harden has had a bad year. We can joke about him magically turning it around, which I expect, but it's not a lock. So you wait and see. I mean, Seth Curry's a big piece, underrated piece of that team, underrated player in this league. Brooklyn, great job getting him. And I think Philly would have liked to keep him if they could. So we'll see. I mean, I can't imagine he'll be too interested in defense and all of that. Plenty of questions. That said, I mean, this team lost to the Hawks in the playoffs, so
so
like you
true.
Shake it up. Like it's not
so
even
true.
a question, you go for it.
And now you have Doc Rivers, noted one of the 15 greatest coaches of all time, guys. I can't believe we haven't talked about this. That list, it actually pissed me off more than the top player list. When you see some of the guys like Doc Rivers, that 08 Celtics championship is honest to God that they've gotten more runway for that one championship than any group of players ever in the history of basketball.
We watched
Believe
Doc
me, I
Rivers
know.
just absolutely melt as a coach.
Oh, it was honestly him going like, it's okay. Like when they were down 15 with like 4 minutes to go, like trying to get guys.
In his salmon polo.
In his salmon polo. It was like, honest to God, one of my top 5 favorite Nuggets memories is him just like deer in the headlights. Like, holy shit, this is really happening.
Yeah. He's like, man, we're losing a lot.
We're still in the driver's seat.
Yeah. He's like, should we make any changes
We're good.
at all? Like,
We're good.
I don't think so.
Oh, man.
What I will say about Philly, they will set the record for most free throws attempted in a game.
They're going to be
probably.
unwatchable. They're going to be unwatchable.
Those games are going to take 4 hours.
You know what, though? My hope is that you get into a playoffs and teams are like, yeah, it's different now. Like, we're calling things different. And both guys are just the whole time doing the Jokic shrug like this the whole time. Also, the odds of a Brooklyn-Philly matchup could even be round 1. It's just like, please give it to us.
Oh, my God. Well, they play in, like, 3 weeks, I think.
There's no good person like in this like Ben Simmons versus the 76ers. There's no like right or wrong in my opinion. Like both sides have some things that you can look at and be like super 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 lame. But for some reason, probably just because of my Jokic bias, I'm rooting on Simmons to like get
I
massive,
know.
just go nuclear in a playoff series and just destroy them.
You also are like, I think, the last person in Ben Simmons' camp in his corner. Like,
I'm not in his corner though. Is the thing. I just think it's funny, like how everybody rushes to the more charismatic bad guy. In my opinion, that's what this exactly what it is. You have two people who have done really dumb things.
Yeah.
One of them is one side of this is highly charismatic and easy to defend. The other one is like puny and whiny and wimpy and like annoying. And it's like, oh,
WLBs, dude.
yeah, whiny little bitch.
So Brooklyn, I think there is the huge if and caveat of, like, as Rich Paul was quoted in that Woj tweet, there's still some work to do to get him back on the court. They say we have to see how he
Yeah, he's got to get to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Get a locker, get in uniform. That's the work.
That's the work you're not.
Ramona Shelburne was
oh man, what
reporting-
if this is how we find out he's not vaccinated?
No, he is. That one's already been.
No,
nipped in the bud.
yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, there are still, if you take Simmons and his camp's word at good faith, like we don't know if he necessarily just hops on the court and plays well. I say all that to ask. I mean, the Nets just got a lot better,
I agree.
didn't they?
I agree. Of course
I
they
think
did.
they
They got
did.
a guy who didn't want to be there, who
Yeah.
wasn't even playing, and now they get a guy who
I like the roster construction. Though.
I do too. I think they can be fantastic. I hate it because I just hate this Brooklyn thing is like even worse than the Philly thing to me in terms of them just punting on the regular
Right.
season. We've talked about this, but Ben Simmons is a really, really, really good player with a really, really glaring flaw. Not going to matter that much when you have that roster they have out there that now features. They could put a lineup out there of Seth Curry, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant alongside Ben Simmons. Three of the best shooters in the. You could even throw Patty Mills, although they
And a
start to get really
stud
tiny.
defender.
You got, and then you have Ben Simmons with that spacing. I'm sorry, like he actually could be really good and work out there. The one thing I will say is we talked about if it goes wrong for Philly, what happens? It goes wrong for Brooklyn. KD went there and had to deal with Hardin and Kyrie. Now he's got to deal with Simmons. If it doesn't work well, always scenario KD's like, forget this. I'm also out of here. I'm not spending more than 1
Next
year.
summer. I mean, next summer. It's only 3 months away.
Just saying, man.
But no, it's a win-win for both sides. It really is.
Yeah.
Both teams got definitely better.
Yeah. Another trade that happened. Torrey Craig, our old friend, is
God
going
damn
to
it.
Phoenix again. Jalen Smith sticks, and the second rounder is going to Indiana. It sucks, man. Torrey Craig, like I didn't necessarily want him back in Denver, although he could play the wing. We need a wing defender. He could have been that guy. But it just sucks that he's going back to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Hold on, we found Torrey Craig.
We found him.
He was our
He was our guy.
discovery, and now he's like more a Sun than a Nugget.
We didn't want him, and now he went somewhere else, and we're like, damn it.
I'm
I
cool
know
with
it,
it.
dude. You know what he
I'm
was?
cool with it.
He was. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're not wrong, but you're also.
It's like if Gary Harris went there, though.
No, it's not.
We found him.
No,
He's ours.
It kind of is. It kind of is. So there's a move. I do think like Phoenix needed that gives them just another guy that actually can play playoff minutes and not completely tanky. Like he's not going to win anything for you, but he's not going to lose anything for you, and he's going to.
He can rebound. He can defend.
And also, is Torrey Craig a Nugget or a Sun now?
That's what I just said.
It's a good question.
Now he's a
is-
Sun.
He might be a
He's
Sun.
more Sun than Nugget. That is my problem.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's been there 2 times, and he went to the finals with them.
But
Dude,
just collectively, he's still been with the Nuggets more.
But if you asked in the hearts and minds of the average casual NBA observer,
They don't know who Torrey Craig is.
Yeah, they definitely don't.
You're right. I should use the word casual.
Yeah, very. We're talking how
You
casual.
say Torrey?
Derek White is headed to the Celtics. I know Nuggets
I
fans
hate
really
this
wanted
too.
it. Really wanted Derek White. They give up Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, and a first to the Spurs.
Dude.
Derek White is 100% like overrated in the minds of Nuggets fans.
Oh,
Forget
no,
it.
I was
Dude,
gonna say-
Derek White's so good,
he
man.
is good. He is
He's
good.
so
Is-
good.
Dude, is Derek Wright the best Nuggets player that's never played for the Nuggets?
Yeah, he definitely is.
Yeah.
Patron of the DNVR Bar, Derek White. Celtics on a roll. By the way, Nuggets play Celtics tomorrow, so they will be without Romeo Langford,
Oh, no.
Josh Richardson.
Hang in for that around the association. That was going to be spicy.
So that's a deal that happened. We have any thoughts about this one?
Or sorry, Tom Boston. I just hate that they got better, and I hate that they're playing well. That's the totality of my thoughts.
I know. I love this is the. As soon as we get to peel away the very, very thin layer of just pure professionalism, we get to go straight into hater mode.
Oh, we're all around the association is always haters. We can't even do these trades without being haters.
In my best professional voice, I hate the Boston Celtics.
Dateline, Denver, Colorado. The Boston Celtics suck.
But to get Derek White for Josh Richardson
Good bit
and
of
a
business.
first,
Yeah.
it's highway robbery. It's a great trade for Boston.
Well, there you go. Great GMing over there. Trey Lyles, Josh Jackson, Dante DiVincenzo is headed to Sacramento. Well, there's the old one. Let's see. We got this new one. That's a crazy one. There we go. Look at Kale with these great graphics, by the way. He made these on the fly. Serge Ibaka, 2 seconds, and cash to Milwaukee. Serge Ibaka, basically the Serge Ibaka to Milwaukee. Shemi Ojale, Rodney Hood to the Clippers. This is Rodney Hood. They love these wings, man. This team is all wings. And Reggie Jackson, it's crazy. And then Bagley is headed to Detroit. The big pieces here. Bagley to Detroit is interesting. Serge Ibaka to Milwaukee. Rodney Hood to the Clippers.
If you had to sum this up, is this the Bagley trade?
No.
Is this the Serge Ibaka trade?
I'm going to call it the Serge Ibaka trade because Milwaukee needed a big, like with the back injury to Brook Lopez. They needed a big. Serge Ibaka, not exactly like elite or anything, but he does kind of fit that mold.
Serge Ibaka.
And he's going to have such a limited role. So to me, he's the headline here. I think it does make Milwaukee a little bit better.
Serge Ibaka would have been nice for the Nuggets, I thought. Although his health is also a concern. So, but yeah, it's a good get for Milwaukee. And the Kings, man. The Kings gunning for the play-in. Going all in for the play-in.
But what do you call going all in? Because they got Trey Lyles, Josh Jackson, and Dante DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo was like a desirable guy that a lot of teams wanted.
And they also have Sabonis and
sure, yeah.
You got to think about all moves, of the totality of the move.
The life of the DiVincenzo asset's kind of interesting. I mean, I know he got hurt, but at one point he was one of the more highly valued, lower tier kind of.
Whenever
starter.
a contender gets a nice young prospect, everybody's like,
right,
that's the guy.
Right. Was he on a contract here? I think he was.
DiVincenzo, Taylor Horton Tucker.
Dante DiVincenzo looks like a
Moses Moody.
Greek statue.
He might actually be good.
Like the face, like he has like the hair length.
Nail form corner.
Corner. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah.
He looks like
That's an interesting
a statue
take.
of a bust. Bagley to Detroit's interesting. Detroit
is it?
It is because you go from Sacramento. Bagley has talent, guys. Bagley has some talent. You go from Sacramento, which is where prospects go to become busts, to Detroit, which is also where prospects go to become busts. But Detroit has an MO right now. They're taking everybody's like
they're taking flyers.
They're taking flyers on like guys that have not panned out.
Garbage Town. USA, drop off your garbage.
All right, you don't find it interesting. Here's my prediction. Marvin Bagley has a fantastic final month of the season. Or 6 weeks, whatever we have left.
Sure. I'm not going to predict that, but sure.
I think he's going to have a Christian Wood-like end of the season where it's like all of a sudden he's putting up 20 and 10 and the team didn't win any of those games.
And some terrible GM talks themselves into giving him $30 million.
The Kings
translate
the Kings trade back for him?
The Kings are hang on.
Re-sign him.
Hang on,
he's grown up. He's turned the corner.
Oh God. Rodney Hood to the Clippers is only interesting in that he's another of these long guys. Like I'm telling you, their team is all wings.
Yeah, they're scary, man.
They are scary. The Rodney Hood's like not as good as he was that one time.
He wasn't. Denver. He's never been as good as he was that one time in Denver. He's got that in him.
But it is weird, man, that they really. It's so. What's cool about the NBA right now? You have all these differing philosophies, most of which suck. Like I hate most of these philosophies. Like Brooklyn had a philosophy that the regular season doesn't matter, nor do rules or anything. Like that's one philosophy.
Nor do rules.
You see, the Clippers have a philosophy right now, and that is just get a center, a point guard, and 12 wings, and just like play. So you have all these combinations of different types of wings that you.
The Raptors are also doing that too.
Yeah, the Raptors are also doing that, and I really do wonder if that. I don't want that mold. I really don't, because I love big men. I love dynamic big men, and that is like sort of a counter to that. So, kind of an.
I mean, the Clippers have a defensive lineup that can give the Nuggets trouble in a potential playoff series.
They also have a coach that was the guy who figured out that these like long wings. That's how you double is with all this length and whatever, and it really works. And then shore up. So, they're an interesting team to kind of keep an eye on. Our old friend PJ Dozier and Bol. Plus a second-round pick going to Orlando. None of those people will play. A second-round pick going to Boston. This was a cap maneuver for Boston to get to shed some salary. Of course, the Orlando Magic. They're all about taking on cap.
Yeah, PJ Dozier has since been waived, by the way.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what's the point? I mean, and then the same thing. You have Bol. He's not going to play either. Although you do have now an inside track maybe to re-sign Bol. Jonathan Isaac, Bol, Mo Bamba. I'm all about it.
Oh, Orlando does.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
If they were to do something.
I just heard you and I thought Denver. I was like, huh.
Oh, no. Yeah. Denver should buy it back. Take it back. No other comment there. All right. Goran Dragic is headed to the San Antonio Spurs. Thad Young is headed to the Toronto Raptors. You talk about here's another wing, Harris, another forward.
Spurs are buying out Dragic too, I believe. Or
So there's a chance he's going to wind up on a contender.
On Dallas, probably.
on Dallas.
Dallas sounds all right. Yeah.
Slovenian teammates.
Yeah.
Another guy, guess what he's good at?
Getting into the paint.
They're
Guess
gonna-
what the Nuggets don't have any of?
Oh, man. I'm
Perimeter defenders.
officially afraid of Dallas. Like, they're just
I'm
gonna
afraid
live
of
in the
Dallas, too.
paint.
Dallas got better today.
They're
They
just
definitely
gonna
got better.
live in the paint against Denver. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yoke's going to have to go for 50.
But the good thing is they still don't have a matchup for Nikola Jokic.
I know that's every time you're like, oh, right, Jokic.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay. Jokic.
What are you gonna do?
I know, but you just...
but like in the like 5-6 years ago, and you're like, oh man, I don't know about that supporting cast up there in Cleveland or down in Miami, and you're like, but they have LeBron. You're like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the end of the conversation.
The thing that Yoke struggles with most, though, is obviously spread pick and roll, and they now have like 4 guys, or if they get Dragic, would have 4 guys. It's the thing. Worry about that another day. Probably won't even match up with Dallas, but you never know. Aaron Holiday's going to Phoenix. I don't know what the other piece of this trade was.
Let's see. Aaron Holiday.
We also have Montrezl Harrell is going to Charlotte. This is an interesting one. Ish Smith is going back to Washington, where he will destroy the Nuggets the next time they play.
Sick.
Absolutely.
Absolutely just destroy. I don't really have comments on this one. Charlotte's somewhat interesting. Good landing spot for Montrezl Harrell, but
Yeah, I mean, catching lobs from LaMelo Ball, life could be worse.
yeah.
So let's see. Which one was I looking at? Sorry.
I think that's it. So does that bring us to the end of these trades?
Well, we had the KP trade, but we already talked about
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis. Obviously, Spencer Dinwiddie, Davis Bertans.
Dude, Porzingis being an unwanted wizard now is like what a tumble from grace.
He's like an unruly unicorn. He
By
bit
the
his
way-
trainer.
Well, somebody pointed out that Bertans for Kristaps, the only 2 Latvians in the NBA traded for
Wow.
each other. Kind of
Wow.
funny.
I want to say also, let's circle all the way back, guys. Justice for crying Knicks kid fan. He was right. Terrible pick.
Oh, yeah.
The Knicks standing pat, too, is interesting. Well, there you go. Nuggets play tomorrow. They've got Boston on Saturday. They've got Toronto. So you got 2 very, very, very tough games coming up.
And you got
on the
2
road.
teams who just made some trades. I don't think Derek White's going to be available for Boston tomorrow. So they'll be a little shorthanded. And then, Toronto, we'll see if their pieces are available.
Oh, that might be like the first game
Yeah.
Saturday night. Just enormous energy. Well, I was going to say great energy in the building. Not
No
true.
fans.
No fans in the building. There'll be no energy
right,
inside
yeah.
the building for
Yeah.
Toronto. Maybe, you know what? You know when Denver has really played well tonight this season? When they've made shots.
oh, sick.
So you,
What a concept.
well, I'm just saying, when they've made threes, it's like all of a sudden, because the ball pops and then nobody makes shots.
Yeah.
You play in an empty arena, that Toronto game, maybe everybody's just like, hey, making shots all of a sudden again.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, it's jarring. Prepare yourself. Gird your loins, because when you watch it again, you're taken back.
Take your
Going back
athletic
to the early-
greens.
Yeah, take your athletic green. Make sure your gut health is in order before you watch this game tomorrow.
Thank you guys so much. Consider, if you're watching this and you've enjoyed it, consider becoming a DNVR member, where you can see all of the fantastic reporting by Harrison Wynn, all the fantastic writing from Brendan Vogt, and the film study analysis that I do on the list behind the paywall. Some of our best stuff is behind the paywall, guys. I know you guys enjoy hanging out with us here. We do stuff back there as
And
well.
you get the best part, a T-shirt designed by me. Who cares about what they do? It's all about this guy.
I actually agree with that part.
Let's go.
Thanks, everybody. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you tomorrow.